What's up, YouTube? I know it's been quite some time since you guys last saw me, but I just had to jump on here now and do this video, which is a video that I've been trying to do for quite some time, but I kept getting busy, and putting it off and, letting other things interfere with it. But because I just recently celebrated a birthday 2 weeks ago today, as a matter of fact, back on August the 7th, 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, I had another birthday. Not just any birthday, I turned 45, so that's a big number. So, and in doing so, I realized just how blessed I am. And the reason for that is because earlier this year, and I think I mentioned this briefly in the last video that I did, which seems like ages ago now, that I was hospitalized, and I said I was going to do a video about it one day, and I just never got around to doing it. But with me recently celebrating my 45th birthday, I said this is the perfect time to do it. I wish I had done it on my birthday, but I'm doing it now. So, but I'm gonna try to condense it as much as possible because I'm up against the clock. I only have 15 minutes of video left on this phone. So let me see if I can get this done. All right. So back on March 16th, which was a Saturday, I woke up early that morning. It was early because the sun wasn't even up yet. Okay. And I woke up early that morning and could not breathe. Well, I was struggling to breathe. It was more so when I inhale. When I exhale, I was fine. As a matter of fact, that's where I was getting my relief, when I exhale, because when I inhale, I struggle for air tremendously. So I didn't wake my wife up then. I said, okay, I'm gonna lay here until the sun comes up. And, if things doesn't get better by then, I'll let her know. So anyway, it must have been like 3 or 4 hours before the sun came up. It seemed like an eternity. But it finally came up and I still felt the same. And I told my wife, I'm not feeling that well. It's kind of hard to breathe. And she said, do we need to go to the hospital? And I didn't want to alarm her. So I was like, well, right now, I'm just going to wait and see. Because Saturday is actually the day we go to church. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So we go to church on Saturday. So by this being a Saturday morning, I said, because I wasn't feeling well, she was like, okay, well, we won't go to church today. We'll just stay home and watch it on the internet. So I'm like, okay. So I said to myself, if it doesn't get any better, and I told her this too. I was like, if it didn't, we'll sit here and watch the service. And if it doesn't get any better by the time the service goes off, then we'll head to the hospital. All right. So sure enough, we sat there, watched the whole service, and I was in pain more so than I was before I got up, because now not only was I having problems inhaling, I was having the same problem exhaling. So it had obviously gotten worse. Okay. So anyway, service was over. I told her, I'm not feeling any better. We need to go to the hospital. Something's really wrong. So hopped in the car, ran up the street about 3.5 miles to a Rockdale Medical, which I think is purchased by Piedmont now. And got there, walked in, and thank God there wasn't a lot of people in the waiting room. I think there was a woman there who was there with her mother. Then there was another couple up at the counter. But outside of that, there was nobody else in the waiting room. So we just pretty much walked up, to the counter, the next available woman at the counter. Filled out the information, and she said, sit tight, we're going to get somebody out here to see you. And it wasn't long before they called me back. They took me back there, ran some tests, took some blood, and they said, just have a seat and we'll come and get you when we know a little something more. And it wasn't long before they came back and got us. And I thank God for that, because by this being the weekend, it could have easily been a ton of folks in the waiting room, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So anyway, all right, so they ran the tests, and they came back and got me, and they said, we have it narrowed down to 2 things. It's either walk-in pneumonia or blood clots. So I looked at my wife. I'm like, blood clots? Because I never had either one of those things. So I'm kind of shocked, And when I think about blood clots, I think about, that happening to, and it's not necessarily, to people who are not, well, to sum it up, I'm a very active person. So the fact that I would have blood clots was kind of beyond me. But I guess there are different reasons that people can end up with blood clots. So anyway, they said it's either walking pneumonia or blood clots. So I'm like, okay. And they said, sit tight. We'll be back once we find out exactly what it is. So we said, okay. So we sat there in that room. And it wasn't even 5 minutes later when they showed up, when the woman came back and she said, okay, you have blood clots in your lung. You're not going home today. Get comfortable because we are admitting you. The folks they're getting you a room ready right now. And we're going to take you up in a second. I'm like, wow. So that's alarming because I'm thinking, when I went to the hospital, I didn't think I was going to be staying there. I thought that they was going to give me some medicine and send me on my way, not knowing what it was. But they told me I had blood clots with an S. That's plural. I had 2 blood clots in my right lung. Okay? So they admitted me that day and they started the treatment. Okay? I can't even remember everything that they gave me. I apologize for this camera shaking because I'm holding it in my hands. I can't remember everything that they gave me. One of the things they gave me was heparin. And I can't remember the other thing, but it was in the form of a shot where they had to give it to me in my stomach. Okay. But anyway, the medicine that they gave me was to help mold. Let me see if I can explain this the best way I can, the way the doctor explained it to me. He said the medicine that they're going to give me is going to help mold the blood clots. And the way he explained it was, imagine the blood clots as your hand, okay? And your fingers, are the little, parts of the blood clot, okay? They said the medicine that they're going to give me is going to mold the blood clots to keep my fingers as the part of the blood clot. It's going to mold those parts of the blood clot so that it doesn't break off and form new blood clots. Okay? So they gave me a medicine to mold it, which I guess was another word for freezing it. Okay? And then the other medicine would help dissolve it in due time. Okay? So they started the treatment. I was there for 6 days. 6 days. And, the first couple of days, I'm like, okay, I'll be out of here soon. But it seemed like they were going on with the same treatment. And initially they said that I'd be out here, maybe 3 or 4 days. But 3 or 4 days came and I was still there. And they kept pushing the date back. And I'm like, man. So now my mind is starting to wonder. I'm saying to myself, my mind has gone from, okay, I'll be out of here soon to, am I going to make it out of here at all? Am I going to walk out of here? So my mind just started to, go somewhere it shouldn't have. So anyway, I was there for 6 days. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I ended up leaving 1 day earlier than the last date that they actually gave me. So that's a blessing because the medicine that they gave me not only was working, but it was working, I guess, at a faster rate than I guess they thought it was going to, or it began to, around, I guess, the 3rd or 4th day or whatever. So anyway, I went in on a Saturday, March 16th, and then that following Saturday. Was it that Saturday or was it that Friday? I was there 6 days, so whatever the sixth day was. Let me see. I went in on a Saturday, so there's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They released me on a Friday. That's what it was. They released me on a Friday, which was one day earlier than what they told me or what they thought I, I was going to be leaving. So, yeah, so I went home that Friday, and it took me a while to recover. Even though they released me home, released me to go home, I thought they released me too early because I was still coughing up a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. Let me back up real quickly here. Let me mention this. Now I'm gonna back up. Even though they released me and they were able to treat me, the alarming thing is that they could not tell me how I ended up with the blood clots. That's the strange thing. So the medicine that they sent me home with was a pain medicine because my back was still aching, and I'll get to that in a second. And they gave me blood thinners, Xarelto, which I'm still on to this day. Okay. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna back up. The week before I went to the hospital, and found out that I had blood clots. I had gone to the doctor the week before, and they told me that I had bronchitis because I was doing a lot of coughing. Didn't know what the heck was going on. I knew I was sick. I didn't know how sick. So I went to the doctor's office and say, okay, you got bronchitis. He gave me all this medicine, okay? And I'm sorry, it wasn't a week before. It was 2 weeks before that, before I found out about the blood clots. So week one, after I found out that I was sick with bronchitis, I was starting to feel a little bit better. It was a slow process. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And week two, I'm really starting to get back to my old self. But towards the end of week two, around Thursday, I started feeling bad again. And I said, okay, maybe I'm just having a bad day. I shook it off. And then Friday came, and I'm like, I'm still feeling the same. And then Saturday morning, that's when I woke up feeling bad because I couldn't breathe. So now, just to recap, I went from having bronchitis and trying to get over that in a 2-week span to being diagnosed with blood clots. Not one, but 2 blood clots in my right lung, all within a 3-week span. And so once they finally released me from having blood clots, I stayed home like a month or maybe like 3 weeks before I actually felt better. Because when I had bronchitis, when you have bronchitis, you do a lot of coughing. You understand? And when doing so, my back was completely sore from all the coughing that I was doing. And then I'm gonna tell you, I did a lot of coughing. I was coughing while I had the blood clots as well because I couldn't breathe, and it was weird, because they're both respiratory issues, with the bronchitis, and then the blood clots in my lung, because the blood clots in my lung, that's affecting my breathing, and the bronchitis that I had, that is a respiratory issue too. So I am struggling, with the bronchitis and the blood clots, So I said to myself, when I asked them, I was like, well, could the bronchitis be the cause of the blood clots? And they told me no. They don't think that was the issue. And yet they still can't tell me why or how I ended up with blood clots. So I've been having my checkups, every month or so. And the first checkup, they say, okay, we're going to keep you on the Xarelto, which is the blood thinner, for 6 months to a year. And after my last checkup, they say, we still don't know why you ended up with blood clots. So we're just going to keep you on there indefinitely until we pull you off. So I'm running out of time here, so let me just go ahead and sum this up. This is, I'm just, consider myself to be blessed to still be here in the land of the living, to see another birthday, my 45th birthday. after being in the hospital, because blood clots are serious and people don't normally survive that. But I did, and I'm still here. And you know, this is a message to anyone else out there. If you ever gone through anything, consider yourself blessed.